solo.
Hello! Welcome to solo playthroughs on this beautiful Thursday, or at least it's kind of nice where I am, but I love the colds. Bring on the cold! Everyone's like, I love the summer. It's like, you're all weirdos. Bring on the cold. It's the best. I mean, this beard is made for the cold, clearly. Saget, tap, is this mic on? It better be on. You can let me know if my mic's on. But here we are. And by the way, Saget, I was doing really well yesterday. Then you showed up and were like, oh, you're going to win again? And everything went to crap after that. So I totally blame you. I don't know what hex you have on my channel, but it's clearly quite powerful. This is a game of Veilwraith. This was a review copy sent to me by hallornothingproductions. They sent me this. They sent me Gloom of Kilforth. I'm going to get to that as soon as I can, but I definitely wanted to get to this first. It is the newer of those two games, from what I understand. And they just sent me the base game of Veilwraith. The art is all black and white, so do not adjust. I mean, obviously you see the blue here, right? So do not adjust your screen. It is very cool. It's a very strong choice. I love the art. I love a lot about this game. I think it's very sleek. I don't love how giant this freaking box is because it's absurdly large. It could be half this size and still fit everything with room to spare. I do understand that the expansion adds a ton more. I got some thoughts about that. We'll get to that in a bit, but here we go. So David Coleman says, cold but warm greetings to you. Hello, sir. Saget, I also have a strong preference of cold as well. Your AV is good as it gets. Saget, also this game is weird. Fair commentary. I have some thoughts about that too. Jester, hello there, buddy. How's it going? Hope all is well. But you're nuts cold is for weirdos. I mean, if the shoe fits, man. And with my size 15 feet, if the big shoe fits, even better. Is this game weird? Yeah, I don't even know where I want to start with that. Yeah, well, let's just get into things, and we'll kind of talk about that as we go. The base game includes 5 vignettes. The first vignette: in life, the ruined goblin was king beyond death, wielding sickness and sin. So I don't fully understand the world that Veilwraith creates, but I'm very intrigued by it. From what I can garner, there was some giant cataclysmic spiritual event that led to the end of the world, and you are now in this liminal space between death and whatever, and you're trying to get keys that are going to allow you to get through certain portals in some kind of quest for salvation, is my guess. And the way that you're overcoming the obstacles that you're facing is through memories of your life before the world ended. That's the best approximation I can come up with without spending too much time pouring through the story and the backstory and all of that stuff. So I think that's kind of where we're at. So the game works through scenarios. The scenarios are called vignettes, and they all have a different flavor, like a different test that you're trying to go through. We have Joey8172. Hello, looking forward to the new game. I agree with Jester. I'll take sweating all day over frozen extremities any day. I've said this before. One of my favorite things in the world is when I'm walking and icicles form in my beard, and it happens so rarely, but I just... I don't know. I'm a weirdo, guys. I keep telling you this. All right. Here we go. So vignette number 1 is the Lost Ruins. The vignette number is down here. This card has a lot of information. At the top, it tells you what the threats are that you'll be facing. I already took out the threats that we need. This is just going to be like a lot of deck builders. It has all the dividers. So I took all the threats out that we need. I left the other ones in the box. And then down here, it tells you what the foe is for the round. And then it tells you any kind of special rules for the scenario. So we have the foe is the Goblin King, and it tells us where we're going to put him in the stack of threats, and I'll get to that. And it tells you what the special rules are. Riches, defeated keys give you a spirit boost of +1. So when we defeat a key, we get an extra spirit. What is spirit? Well, spirit is our currency in the game. We start with 20. If our spirit ever gets to 0, guess what? You lose. Now, the game is supposed to be played as a campaign. And again, the base box is only the 5 scenarios. And you're supposed to start with a certain number of ribbons. And then every time you lose, which will probably happen, especially as you're learning, you lose a ribbon. If you ever lose all your ribbons, game over. That's fine. I don't love mechanics like that. So for me, it's more of just like, I don't know, I play this scenario and then we'll see. There are things that you can do with upgraded cards. One concern I have for me is that I found the vignettes 3, 4, and 5 very easy relatively to 1 and 2 because it doesn't take much to upgrade your deck to make you a lot stronger. So I don't know where the arc is, but again, there's 15 more vignettes in the expansion. So maybe the scaling gets better there where it gets increasingly hard. But I found the first couple of vignettes a lot harder than vignettes 3, 4, and 5. Because one of the things they say is that, oh, you can, every time you go through the campaign, you can keep one of your cards upgraded. Like, I wouldn't want to do that because I'd be worried about a power spike issue. But I think because there's like a bunch of alternate modes of play that you can do. So it's like you get an upgraded card, but you start with one less spirit. Like, to me, I would definitely give up a spirit for an upgraded card. Like, that's a no-brainer for me because there are so many ways to get spirit back early in a game depending on what cards you take. So it is what it is. I'm super curious about the expansion. And I'd be curious to see how those last 15 years play out and how they might make sense of more of the content in the base game box. But again, we'll kind of talk about that in a little bit. So anyway, so we went through this. Those are our riches. The scenario, the location, this vignette also has a explore value over here of a 3. And then again, it tells you over here that it's vignette number 1. So let me get the threat deck set up. Our threat deck's going to have 3 enforcers. Now, the game comes with 4, and they're kind of identical, but not really identical. So there's like different values. There's different things that you need to defeat each one. So I'm just going to shuffle them up and we'll take one out randomly. It creates a little bit of variability, which I like. It's not a big deal either way, but we'll take out the 2. And now we have those 3 enforcers will be in the threat deck. We're going to have 3 fighters. So I'm going to shuffle these 4 up. We're going to roll a die. That's out. We're going to put that into the threat deck. We have 4 goblins or 3 goblins. I'm going to roll a die. Oh, let me not look at what's going on. I rolled number 3. That's out. We're going to have 3 healers. Going to shuffle these up. Roll a die. It's a 2. We have 4 hobgoblins, so all 4 of these will come in. We have 4 mystics, so all 4 of these will come in. And then we have 4 pariahs. All 4 of these will come in. So I'm going to take these. How many cards is this? I'm going to do a little pile shuffling down here while I'm, mathing. 12. So 24 cards here. We're going to shuffle them a little bit. These are not normal size cards. It should be pretty clear. So you would need those like big extended card sleeves to, if you wanted to sleeve this up. There is a lot of shuffling. It's probably a good idea. Jester says you're a smart guy. Joey 8172. Joey says maybe I need to grow a beard. And Jester says I just played Gloom of Kilforth over there. Over Gloom over Kilforth, their other game series the other day, and it didn't go well at all. Yeah, so Kilforth has Gloom of Kilforth, Shadow over Kilforth, and I think they just came out with a third one, or is a third one Shadow. I organized the box. It looks super cool. Excited to dive in for sure. They also do some like war-themed games. I think Ricky Royal just did a full playthrough of like 1812, which looks like Minutemen and some kind of battle-y situation. So yeah, they do a lot of interesting stuff. Again, they're a small publisher, and I was excited to. They said they were going to send me this last year, and then it kind of showed up out of nowhere months later. So I was super appreciative that they kind of followed up on that. So yeah, we'll see. And this is a very cool game. Now I should mention, since I don't know what the word is. I spent some time in my top solo game video last year talking about some of my discomfort, I guess. I don't know. Some of my something with the art in Madara, there is definitely a lot of scantily clad women art in this game. It does not bother me in this game the way it bothers me in Madara. I have a couple of reasons for that. I'd be happy to discuss further, but like ultimately, like the female characters in Madara are presumably in the world of Madara, like very young, like teenage girls. And I think the art there is a little bit more provocative for what it is. Here, it's just like, hey, they're beautiful women. I'm fine with beautiful women in my art in games. I think it's handled a lot more tastefully, than it is in Madara for my taste. So I did want to kind of put that out there because I don't want to look like not treating all games the same. Like, so it was something that I was aware of and thinking about. All right. Marcin says the third one is called The Call of Killforth. I have ordered it, but still didn't open Shadows. Cool and cool. Well, not cool you haven't opened it. Open Shadows, man. I'm helping. I'm there to encourage you to open and play your games. If you can encourage me to do the same thing, we'll have a great relationship. All right, I'm going to set this up. So what did I say? I have 24 cards here. So we're going to set this up into 5 piles. How's this going to work again? Math. I have to math, guys. I need to do 5 different piles. Yeah, because there's 5 keys. So let me just figure it out there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This should work. Just doing it this way without having to fully math it out. I think there'll be 6 cards in each pile. Yeah, great. So I skipped over pile 4. We add the Goblin King to stack 4, and then each pile gets a key, and they should all be randomized as well. So I should know which is which. Joey says the men seem to be scantily clad as well, if that helps. Yes, that is also true. Like, no one's wearing clothes here. I mean, the men are definitely wearing more clothes in Madara than they do here, for sure. It's hilarious. I dig, man. I dig. All right, we're gonna put this here. 3, 4, and 5. I kind of saw that, but it is what it is. I honestly don't remember what the stats are on it, so I'm not going to reshuffle. Jester, they also have a special version you can order that have less skin artwork if that does bother you. Oh, of Veilwraith? Interesting. I did not know that. That's cool. It's a nice touch. I mean, it's a lot of production for them, so I appreciate that they're thoughtful about it. Again, the art here does not bother me at all. I think it's very cool. Making sure my autofocus is off. All right, we're good. Jester, bring in the knowledge, baby. All right, dropping this here. So those are 6 cards. Again, there are 6 cards in each of these stacks. Each stack has 1 key, a certain number of threats, and the stack I'm shuffling right now also has the foe. Oh no, the foe! He's a king! He's a king of goblins! After yesterday, playing against the Goblin King is rather appropriate. Hopefully he doesn't smash me as much as the Goblin King smashed Gasket yesterday. But, put this here. Alright, so what's in front of me? So in front of me, we have 3 different action cards. The first one is the one that's under the number 1 is called the Explore action. The Explore action has 2 uses. One, we could do it to explore and overcome a threat of some sort that needs an Explore value to be met or surpassed. Or we could just use it for a basic action where it's like, alright, we're just going to draw a card. All 3 of these actions have that ability where if you don't want to try to fight something or overcome something, you could just exhaust it and draw a card from your memory deck. That could be super helpful. When you exhaust a card to use it, you shift it from its current location, whether it's under the 2. Well, if it's in the 1, it stays in the 1. But if it's in the 2 or the 3, you at that point will shift it from there and move it over to the 1, which upgrades the action that was in the 1 into the 2, or if it's in the 3, again, it would upgrade both of these. Right? The 1, 2, or 3 are going to correspond to the basic value of that action. So if you're doing a Explore action from the 1, it's kind of a weak action that you're only going to get 1 Explore power. If you're doing an action from the 2, that would be 2 fight power. If you're doing an action from the 3, that would be 2 influence power. Now, once a round, If a card's not otherwise exhausted, you can tilt it 45 degrees to add a power to it. Those power tokens will accumulate. So over various rounds, you might be able to get, say, 4 tokens on there. Well, that's now a fight action. If I now in a future round, if it starts there, I could do this, and now that's a fight action of 6. If I spend these though to get value, they do come away. The max number of power tokens you can have at any one action is 5. So you just kind of want to monitor that. Yeah, I'm doing this right. You just want to monitor that as you go, but yeah, it's a pretty interesting mechanic. A little bit of a like Arc Nova-ish like what is it? Civilization? No, Dawn. Is it Civilization? What's the game that has the mechanic that Arc Nova ripped off? So blatantly, it's the same thing. A New Dawn. I think it's a New Dawn. Go from there. Sad to say, as we say in the biz, I aim to please, says Satchet. Rocket Magnet UK. What's up, Lee? Yeah, the alt art pack is available to buy. It's always in stock if you really want it. Oh, cool. That's really good to know. I don't want it. I would want it for some of Madara's art. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I would definitely prefer some alternate art for Madara at times. Woof. Some of those things I'm like, I feel like I should be arrested. I mean, this is a criminal defense attorney. I mean, speaking as well. I mean, I've handled some cases, guys, where makes you things that make you scratch your head. Civ New Dawn. Thank you, Saget. And yeah, Civ New Dawn. That's the one. I played that game once. I need to play it again. My friend Brian has this awful habit of teaching me games. Well, I mean, that's a good habit, but he throws in all the expansions and like doesn't full. I don't. It's like a lot to learn a game with all the expansions thrown in. I know the expansion makes that game so much better. I've heard that a bunch of times, but I didn't fully appreciate how important a couple of things were in that game until I'm like, oh, that's why I'm going to get trounced. That makes sense. So there was like that, whatever that production thing. There was that alternate thing the expansion added that you can do that can add a lot of extra like actions and goodies from round to round that I did not lean into at all, to much to my demise. But I digress. Why is that? Trying to get that glare off of there. Yeah, black and white. Hopefully won't have too many glare issues. This art looks like a little washed out by my lights. So most of art's coming off pretty cool though. I dig. All right, let me shuffle my memory deck. So there are 20 cards in your starting deck. And we'll see there's like kind of a multi-use ability to your cards. One mechanic that I don't think makes any sense early, but perhaps makes sense as you get into, the 15 extra vignettes in the expansion, is that you can at any point discard 2 cards and then there's a value on them that you could add to a test. Again, I doubt you'll see it in this early vignette because it'd only be adding 1, and the cards tend to be more powerful with their abilities and stuff than using it for that. It's something I've grown a little bit like sensitive to as I started to play more games, like games that give me rule sets that the base game doesn't really use. I've always find interesting. What was it? Horizon Zero Dawn was a big culprit of that, where it's like this: you're reading the base rules, like, all right, a lot of this is probably going to make sense in an expansion. Siege of Valeria had some rules that make no sense in the base game, but when you see the expansion content, which Daily Magic Games is sending me, it's like, oh, okay, that's why that rule's there. It's a little like jarring, I think, because you're like, am I missing something or whatever? Like when you learn as many games as I do, I would rather just like, hey, give me the base rules. But I guess if you want